Hello, everybody. As you may have noticed, this is not a normal edition of the Robert H. Wilde True Crime Show. In fact, it is not a true crime show. Ditch, if you are wondering why there is a delay, it is because Polly has been in here, and I have been trying to get the doors open, Ditch, because it gets too hot to close the door without opening the window. And as you know, we do not open the window. Polly was in here, so look, I've got this mask, Polly. I'm not putting it on while you're in here because she'll probably try and eat me. So we had to wait. Anyway, yes. So what are we doing tonight? We are doing a spooky stream. I've always wanted to do one of these for Halloween, but I'm also an incredibly impatient man that gets bored easily. So Polly is very much, I wouldn't say a half-ditch, I'd say very, very sad and sort of lolloping about very sadly. It's really not good to see. We're doing a spooky stream early. And so what is a spooky stream? Well, the True Crime Show has a lot of research to bring you what is proper factual content and proper interpretations. I try very hard to make everything I say to you, completely true and legitimate as far as we know. We're throwing all that out of the window tonight. We're not bothering about any of that. We are going to be it's all about the vibes tonight. It's all about spooky vibe. So I'm going to tell you a series of stories that are supposed to be true. I mean, I think we can probably agree that many of them aren't, but we don't care about that at the moment. There's going to be no attempt to be sceptical about these or to probe into the reality of them. We're just going to go with the vibes. We're just going to enjoy it. Like when I was about sort of 7, I found a book in the school library all about alleged real life hauntings. And I think that's probably why I've had years of psychiatry. But we're going to be doing that vibe. We're just going to be enjoying 7, yeah. My school... You know what, Steve, we're the same age. You know what school libraries were like back then? It was an absolute war zone. If people today saw the stuff we were reading, they'd have a heart attack. I must have been about 9, and there was a book. Oh yeah, Polly is having to go to the vet every day at the moment, and it's deeply distressing for her and me. So yeah. When I was 9, I read a book in the school library that was supposed to be on the history of the Aztecs, and it just listed stuff that, as an adult and a historian, it's just, you look back and you think, well, this is a school library and it's just elaborate stories of torture and execution with maybe the occasional date. That was history when you were 9. Learn about the Aztecs. It's not like that now. When my niece learned about the Aztecs, she had to invent her own Aztec god, which, while more heretical, is probably safer than the sort of stuff they showed us. Anyway, so we're doing the spooky stream. Hello, C1 Rockstar. Great to see you in here. First time chatter. Great to see you. So yeah, we're going to be doing I've got 5,000 words. Well, it's notes, but of content. It was yeah. You can imagine, Ditch. You can imagine. And we're going to roll through them, and we'll see how far we get. We may run out. I don't know. To be honest, I don't know how long this is going to take. I'm still gauging how long content takes, because of course it's about 10, 11, 12 stories. There'll be more pauses for discussion than when I'm just banging on about a serial killer. So I'm just going to give some brilliant shout outs to everyone that's in chat, because there were some fantastic streams in. There was Steve Ford, who is an excellent guitarist. There's Karen Warbis, who is an excellent singer. There's Foxy Harley, who is the spiritual mother of this stream, because she runs real paranormal content with Adam Mark, which is, whatever you think of Adam Mark, and I like him, it's 100% more real than some of the stuff we're probably going to be getting into tonight. Ditch is hoping to do some Baldur's Gate 3. So am I, to be honest. Not on stream. I'm just hoping to play Baldur's Gate 3. I think, and Sydney does it's Sydney. Are you pushing for affiliate? Did I read correctly? Not Slenderman. Yes. Well, if you could get Slenderman into the chat, that would be great, because that would be a real coup. Perhaps not into my house to appear on camera. Less of a coup. Yeah, exactly, Sean Rockstar. That's what we were reading. We were reading all that stuff. Sean Hudson, James Herbert. You know, all the all the classics. Right. Well, I feel we'll get into. We'll just have a little bit of a warm up. As I've you're safe. There's no room for Slenderman and you in your tiny office. Right. So if Slenderman's slender, that implies that I'm the really big space eater. Thanks, Ditch. So I didn't just mention that book that I saw in the school library off the cuff. I have gone out. Oh, it's a tiny office. It's a tiny door. This chair does not fit through that door. Ditch and I had to take it apart and put it back together again. Imagine buying a house where you can't get a normal streamer chair through a door. I've been affiliated for 60 months. Just put truth. Oh, sorry, Sydney. I thought I saw something on YouTube. It must have been a really old video on YouTube. I'm sure I was served I was watching some of your videos today, but it must be an old one, because I'm sure I saw something that you were doing something. Sorry about that. So yeah, I have actually found 4 of the photos that were in that book, and I'm going to give you a little introduction. And for the first time ever on stream, I'm going to be showing you the images. I know I have had requests to put up images of the people I'm talking about, and obviously it's a bit of a minefield with copyright and stuff. But these images that I'm going to show you have been shown so many places all over the books and internet and everything. I'm fairly certain I can't get in any possible trouble. Don't say they'll haunt you. Or maybe do, that's the vibe. And not glorifying monsters. Yeah. And I wanted to just talk about when we were young. There were famous ghost photos, which is what I'm going to show you. They would be, you get a book, it'd be like, is this a ghost we've examined the photograph? They don't have that now. There are no famous ghost photos now, and it's because there's 1,000 apps that will put a ghost on your phone photo in seconds, because Photoshop can go down an absolute rabbit hole. There's just no possibility of anybody today ever being able to go, I've photographed a ghost. We have famous ghost TV programs. Exactly. The media has changed. We now have videos and TV and the internet, so we don't really do photos. The other thing is, of course, when we were at that age, there were an awful lot of accounts where people would go, oh, I saw this ghost, but I didn't have a camera. Oddly enough, now everyone's got a camera. Didn't really make much difference. And that is the last negative comment you will hear tonight, because now we are switching into sod it, let's go for the ghosts mode. So, I would like to introduce you to the Brown Lady of Raynham Hall. Yes, I've done a thing. I've done a thing. It's almost like I sorted this out. So, what are you looking at in that photo? Raynham Hall is a large country house in Norfolk, which is in Britain. In 1936, 2 people from Country Life magazine were meant to be photographing it for the publication. They worked for a huge chunk of the day without any problem. And as they were setting up... Yeah, it probably is. The photos I'm going to show you are all old classics. So they have been in every possible book. We will get to some content you haven't heard of later. I just wanted to... These are my favourites because they were the things I saw when I was 7 and then, got terrified. And these are ordered deliberately. Thank you. My last one, the last one I'm going to show you is the one that really put the fear into me. So I was going to say the fear of God, but it's not really appropriate, is it? Anyway, they were photographing the stairs, And one of the team, Indra Shara, said she saw an ethereal form coming down it. So they took a photo, and they took this. Paul started. We're just going to pause because I'll see what the chaos is. Ghosts, motions, light effects. Yeah. I mean, really, Ditch, we're supposed to be just not bothering with the rationality and just going all out on ghosts. We're just enjoying the ghosts. So the spirit, they think they know, well, allegedly, everyone said, oh, that's the brown lady, who was Dorothy Walpole, wife of the second Viscount Townshend. She died under unclear circumstances. Officially, she died of smallpox. Unofficially, well, maybe not. Yeah, they're real for the next 90 minutes, Ditch. Then we can go back to being proper writers, you know. So, but I do want to, what do we think of the brown lady on a fear factor? It's the fear factor I'm interested in tonight. Are we feeling the brown lady? I mean, yeah, as Steve pointed out, maybe a different name would have been healthier. Because she's, I mean, obviously, given the technology, the fact she's a black and white woman doesn't really help. Small children with no eyes are scarier. Wait for it. In fact, sod it, let's go. I now would small children are scarier. I now would like to introduce you to the Amityville boy. He has eyes, but they're glowing. Well, that couldn't have gone any better, could it? Some of them. So what you're looking at is a photo. I was going to do a big build-up to this and go, oh, you may be wondering where the ghost is. It's the boy, but Ditch led me into that perfectly. So this photo, well, you know where this photo is taken, because this photo was taken at 112 Ocean Avenue, Amityville. Yes, I mean that Amityville house. What's true about the Amityville incident is that in 1974 followed Ronald DeFeo killed his entire family in it. What's up for some discussion, let's put it mildly, is that when the Lutz family moved in, they reported a huge amount of paranormal harassment, which spawned a bestseller and movie series. Nobody really knows if the Lutzes were real or hoaxes or anything else. Anyway, obviously, you're in America, you're in the 70s, you've got a big paranormal event. So this photo was actually taken by Ed and Lorraine Warren. If you're wondering who they are sort of America's... they were America's sort of leading paranormal investigators. They inspired an entire modern movie series. So if you've seen Annabelle and all of them, yeah, those two. And they took this photo. They were adamant that there were no small boys anywhere near the house when they took this. It's believed, if you want to, that this is the ghost of murdered 9-year-old John DeFeo peering out. Yeah, you're right, Ditch. If that did appear, if that was the genuine thing that you took, you would not be bothering to go and go anywhere near it again. Annabelle, what's this, Paul? Yes. I have a feeling I know which way this is going to go. Annabelle Creation is either the scariest movie ever or a doll that's pleasant. I will let you know the results of that. So that's the Amityville boy. Then we have the Tulip Staircase. Sounds nice, doesn't it? So I'm not going to change the scene yet. So the Queen's House is now at the National Maritime Museum and has been iconic. You're not going to sleep tonight. Well, this is the spooky stream. We're 20 minutes in and we've already succeeded. So there we go. The Queen's House at the National Maritime Museum has been iconic for decades because it was designed by Inigo Jones in the 1600s. The royal family lived in it on and off for 2 centuries. Now it's part of the museum. One of the most famous parts is the Tulip Staircase, which has a genuine claim to fame to be the first geometric, centrally unsupported staircase built in Britain. It also has another claim to fame, that thing. Foxy says dull and pleasant don't belong in the same centre, unless it's Donald Pleasant. No. Okay. In 1966, a now retired Canadian reverend, and we all trust them, and his wife took a photo. When they developed it, hello Polly, when they developed it, turned out they weren't alone. The photo has been analysed heavily and it's not altered. So it could be some weird anomaly, or it could be a shrouded figure on the stairs. Oddly enough, no name has ever been attached to this. Nobody has any idea if this is a ghost who is. Hello Polly. Do you want a stroke? Just stroke. There's no explanation for it, but it's one of the most famous ghost photos of all time. Sorry, I'm just being nice to the cat because she's had a traumatic day, and she's going to have a traumatic day tomorrow, aren't you? But you don't know that yet. And I'm traumatising all my viewers, so you're not alone today. I'm not sure if Forgiven. Well, yeah, Forgiven's all right. The trouble is, it's going to happen again tomorrow, so she's still a bit shaky. If the stream goes off, I will be back. It's because Polly has pressed a button. Yeah, that nearly happened last time. For me, who doesn't like spiders, arachnophobia will never be beat as the most terrifying film. Yeah, I don't like spiders. And arachnophobia. No. Nah, you're alright. You're alright. I don't need it. I don't need arachnophobia. Nah, there's just no need. Why would anyone? Hello, Thelonious. Great to see you in. So, I'm now going to introduce you to the Newbie Monk. This is, for me, my favourite all-time ghost photo. It's also the one that scared me the most as a child, which is why it's in this. The story is the Church of... Well, I'm going to give you the story because the story's not exactly that happy. The Church of Christ the Consoler at Newby Hall in Yorkshire, UK, didn't start well. A 23-year-old called Frederick Viner was kidnapped and a ransom demanded. However, he was killed before it was paid, and his mother built the church with the money in memorial. Oh, I'm not sure, Polly. Are we all right? Are we still active? We're going to switch to Polycam because I've not actually... Oh no, she's moving again. I've not built a cat cam into the ghost photos. Can we not touch my drink? I'm sorry if you can hear the sound of cat ASMR, but she's decided to rub the microphone. You're good? Good? Are you going to even sit there? We'll have to have a bit of cat cam and then we'll come back to the Newbury Monk. There's Polly. Got your back to everyone, haven't you? Yeah, she wants strokes. You're feeling a bit better, are you? Polly was, Polly's had a horrific day herself. So Polly likes ghosts. Yeah, that's a comforting thought, isn't it? Is that what you do at 5 a.m, Polly, when it sounds like you're building something? Oh yeah, I'm forgiven now, aren't I? You see her face? See, you are loved, Polly, but we've got to take you to the vet to get you better. Ghosts and cats. Pretend this is my familiar, my witch's familiar, and you are seeing her in her cat form, but she is actually a demon. That's the vibe. Do bear with me. We're giving her extra special love because she keeps having to go to the vet. So now she's forgiven me, we're going to be very nice to her. Because ultimately you come first, don't you? Because you're the cat. Alright, are you okay? Have you had enough? Yeah, so Thelonious, Polly has to have 14 days at the vet. We're on we've succeeded in day 2. So she will be fine once she has the treatment. She was a rescue, and we're working through all her problems. This is the last problem to get rid of. Once you've got this gone, Polly, you'll be fine. Unfortunately, it is a very serious problem, so we need to get it done, don't we? Right. Yeah, the thing is, she wouldn't have to go to the vet every day if I could actually administer the oral antibiotics. But Polly isn't very keen on them, and I'm massively soft. So I can't bring myself to give the treatment that the vets can give her, because she clamps her teeth down, her mouth closed, more than my dad's wallet. Tighter than my dad's wallet is the joke, isn't it? Alright, Bonnie, I think I need to get back to the nice people. Hello, Tom, good to see you. You have come in with Cat Camera Operation. Tom is a great drum streamer. He also does some medieval gaming. Right, we're going to have to show him a ghost for a little bit. We're going to have to show him a ghost. Well, I'll leave this here, and then I'll bring up the Newbury Monk. So the Reverend Kenneth Lord needed a photo of his altar in 1963, and he took one. And when it was developed, that was stood there. Now it's called the Newbury Monk, but nobody actually has any idea who or what it is, or if it's even a monk. But because it looks like somebody with a cloth face and robes, they've gone with it. Yeah. Now, at first, I thought that the ghost was just the white part, like a little ghost. But there are transparent black robes. So this is, now imagine me seeing this at 7. It left an impression, let me tell you. And that's how I ended up here doing this and writing horror stories. If anybody likes comedy horror stories, I've got some on Amazon. Quick plug. Okay. Right, she's had enough. Right. So those are some warm-up ghost photos. Are we all in a spooky mood? Not like Oscar Wilde. Alright, so let's kick off with our first story. It's one of my favourites. It's one of the classics. It's probably one of the best known things that's going to... Oh, Polly's beautiful. Yes, she is. In fact, I'm on the wrong scene. This is the right scene. I'm going to start off with one of the. I don't know how well known this is outside Britain. It's one of Britain's classic stories. We'll kick off with a classic, and it is The Mystery of the Hairy Hands. Ah, Sidney, yes, Poe's brilliant. Poe's brilliant, isn't he? Yeah, very good. So, the Hairy Hands. Not Richard Keys. So Dartmoor in Devon is already a bleak and unforgiving place, but one section of it is rumoured to have a much bigger problem than succumbing to the weather. In Postbridge in Devon, along the road known as the B3212, something has been troubling people. Yes, Steve, not those hairy hands. So there's two stories at work with regards to the hairy hands. Many drivers along that road have crashed and swerved and have struggled with the road. There's been a few famous deaths on the road. So investigators looked into it, blamed the camber of the road and that it was an unfamiliar area, and they rebuilt the road. There is a problem though, because people's vehicles aren't just sort of swerving because the road's bad. Let me give you an example. Rufus Endrell was a journalist, and he told writer Michael Williams what happened to him on the condition it wasn't published until he died, because he was worried it would make him look silly. He reported he'd been driving there when a pair of disembodied hands appeared and grabbed the wheel. He had to struggle with the hands to stay on the road because the hands were trying to crash him. Other reports over the years have mentioned the same. A pair of hairy hands appearing on the wheel or your bike handles, a supernatural strength trying to steer you into a crash. Well, whether your death's the result of the hands winning. Now, when people looked into this, they were looking at the roads, the shape of the roads. The problem is the hairy hands don't just appear on the roads. In 1924, a young couple parked a caravan up on the moor and went to sleep. The woman awoke to a noise, and as she looked round at the moonlight coming in through the window, she saw the hands crawling across them as if looking for a way in to get them. She made the sign of the cross, and the hands crawled back away. The hands have been described to a victim of an accident who never left, or someone who died in Dartmoor prison. I think it's fair to say that chat have taken a different interpretation from that story, and are definitely having a good time, not necessarily the time we were hoping for. Yeah, there are a lot of ghost stories near us, Ditch. Maybe I'll do some of those in the next spooky stream. A little local ghosts. Oh, Polly's actually facing the camera. Well done, Polly. Your media training is coming along. We're now going to do a ghost story that is lesser known, much lesser known. Oh yeah, full-on ghost doxing. Oh yeah, there is that. Yeah, maybe not. But it's just the ghost's not in my house. Joe moved from California to the state of Georgia in the 90s. And his brother followed him, buying a house which was built in the 19th century. Joe never liked his brother's house. He said it looked nice from the outside. It did not feel good from the inside. He said, I walked into the house and went, oh man, the hair on the back of my neck stood up. This place isn't cool at all. Joe became even more unnerved when moving boxes in, because he was in the bedroom and he was sure he could hear whispering. Not just whispering, but two people having an argument, but he couldn't see anybody. Joe asked his brother if he had any vibes about the house, and the brother said, "Yeah, it feels weird, but it'll be alright." Joe was so unnerved, he said, "Well, call if you need help, but I'm not coming back." So his brother over the weeks reported increasingly odd things, until one day Joe's brother looked round the house for his daughter, who was 4, and he couldn't find her. This soon turned into a panic as he searched everywhere, ever quicker, and they really couldn't find her. She was too small to open the heavy old door, and they began to fear somebody had taken her. And this is the thing, had somebody taken her? Because she was found not in the house. She was walking alone down a busy road, one hand raised. Having been rescued, the police asked her, what happened? Who took you? She wasn't in the slightest bit concerned, and said she'd just been out for a walk with the old lady that lives here. That's why her arm was raised. She was holding her hand. The girl explained they'd both been stroking the dog, and then the old lady opened the door and they'd gone for some air. On hearing the sincerity and the conviction in her voice, the house went on the market immediately, and they moved quickly away. Am I being shown her back as a sign of protest? Who knows? So what do we think of that one? It's always a Native American burial ground, yeah? Yeah, it could be. Well, in fact, you say it's always Native American burial ground, but in the next story we're going to get into Dutch magic. And I know what you're thinking. There's Dutch magic? Well, you'll find out. Hello, Tegan. Good to see you. So I've called this the things in the walls. I mean, that tells you what's going to happen, really, doesn't it? So the Bretswiss family in Auburn, Pennsylvania, had been living with their house without complaint. Well, they thought it was without complaint. They kept getting ill, and the house always had a dodgy smell. But they didn't really think. We gave her royal cat back, yeah. But they didn't really think this was a major issue. In 2015, they decided to insulate the property. This involved removing some of the internal walling to insert the insulation. But the gap they were expecting to find to put the insulation in wasn't empty. Instead, they found a huge amount of, something that had been wrapped in newspaper. The papers dated from the 30s and 40s. So the family unwrapped and found dozens and dozens of animal corpses. They had been rotting and had mould on them, and that's why they kept getting ill. And that's why there was a smell. After they'd stopped panicking, they reached out to experts. What on earth is this? And the experts didn't go, it's just some loony. The experts went, this could be powwow, which, I'm informed, is the folk magic of Pennsylvania Dutch immigrants. Let me give you this looked like an example. Powwow was mostly spells to protect settlers, secure water, treat illness, but of course there is a darker side. For instance, one known powwow spell to make a dog loyal to you involves the dog drinking your blood. Don't get any ideas. No one knows what putting a load of animals in the wall were meant to be conjuring, but something was up. Yes, essentially, yes, the Dutch equivalent of voodoo. Do any cat people know if this means she's doing this to show her displeasure, or is this just the wall's interesting? thank you, Steve, for doing that. Yes, if anybody's new here, do throw me a follow. Thank you very much. If you're enjoying the content, this is normally a true crime stream, but tonight we are doing some more spooky things. She's not hiding, at least. This is true, she isn't hiding. Chris pricked up, I would sleep with one eye open tonight. Yeah. I think she's just going to trip me down the stairs. Aren't you? I mean, you nearly do that at the best of times. Right, and now for a report. Never get the back of it in mind. Well, there you are. Then you're well loved, Cat Mother Thelonious, whereas I am in the bad books. So, Florida woman, different from Florida man. Speaking of strange and arcane rituals, things go badly wrong when someone goes mad and invents their own rituals. Let me give you an example. In June 2012, Florida teacher Danielle Harkins began acting oddly. She was 35, living in St. Petersburg, and friends grew concerned because she began talking about demons and rituals. This was problematic enough, but then people realised Harkins had access to several classes of students. Oh, thanks for the shout out, Steve. I'll plug those in a second. And then one of these students came forward and made a report. King Cobra, nice to see you on YouTube. Good to see you. Welcome in. You see, I am. Yes, if you want options, I am streaming simultaneously on Twitch and YouTube. And all the VODs go up on YouTube afterwards. One VOD is a bit delayed because I've got to knit the two halves together because there was a technical error in the middle. We're back to medical students. Harkins had convinced 7 teenage students to meet at St. Petersburg Pier for Saturday sunset. Well, this is amazing. Edgar Allan Poe has tipped $5. The ghost of Edgar Allan Poe has tipped me $5. Thank you very much, Edgar. I'm sorry about all that falling, getting drunk and falling into gutters, but your work lives on in a way that you probably never imagined. So these students had met at sunset. And thanks. I don't know if you want me to read that out on stream, whoever donated that, but I will let you know. Oh wow, thank you for giving out a gift sub, Karen. Thank you for subscribing, She Dies Again. Excellent, thanks very much. So Harkins had managed to convince 7 students that they had demons in them, which needed to be freed. And how do you free a demon? In Harkins' mind, you had to cut yourself to let the demon out and burn the wounds to stop them from getting in. We'd have to stop this stream because Tom lives near the grave of Edgar Allan Poe. That is awesome, Tom. That is awesome. I'm genuinely impressed about that. That's good. So, amazingly, some of the teenagers actually did this. Yes, thank you, Karen. That's wonderful. Thank you for the donor. Just now I know who you are. Mr. Poe. So some of them actually did this. One teen was cut on the neck with broken glass. Oh, H.P. Lovecraft has tipped $10. That's my boy. Bit controversial now, but you know, knew how to write a book. They're all going now. It will be interesting to know if anybody knows the other author that I would put up there that I love as much as those two. That's going to be interesting. One boy was cut on the neck with broken glass and the wound burned with a heated up key. One was cut on the hand and they were meant to burn the wound with a lighter. It definitely isn't August Earth. But it was too windy, so someone suggested covering the hand in perfume and setting it on fire, which caused second-degree burns. When this bizarre ritual was over, the teens all went home. None of them actually complained about this initially, but they told their friends, and one of them told the police, and then the police got involved. They investigated and charged her, obviously, but no one could ever work out what cult or superstition she might actually believe in beyond her own strange, self-invented weirdness. Yes, Tom. Yes, there's quite a few of us. No, it's a paranormal one. It's a paranormal one. Although so Ditch suggested Dan Abnett. He writes a lot of, I guess, I'm going to say sci-fi, even though he does a lot of other things. But his Eisenhorn trilogy is superb. Whether you're interested in the broader world it's in or not. In fact, I've just brought somebody a copy of Eisenhorn, and they have loved it. And they've also said there is absolutely no way in hell this is ever being adapted for television. Yeah, but they loved it. But no, there's another paranormal author I consider one of the best, and who inspires me. Yes, Tom, there's quite a few of us talking about possible trips out to things, whether paranormal or not. I did actually see an advert today. They were organising a paranormal sort of session at Luton Library. Not to make the obvious cliched English joke, but you'd be more scared getting to Luton Library than you would leaving Luton Library. Oh no, he's brilliant. He's genuinely, Eisenhorn's just an incredible achievement. And before you get to all his other stuff, so we should keep you posted. I'm not going to go to that one. I might do something myself. The annoying thing is, Flitwick Wood, which I've docked myself again. Flitwick Wood in Bedfordshire, which I could reach, has a ghost, has a murder. In fact, I'm going to tell you a deeply embarrassing story and give you some advice. If you are on what could perhaps be called a date, and you are walking round a wood, and you think it would be a great idea to give some local knowledge, do not stand at a particular point in the wood and go, "This was where the murder happened," because that's a bad idea. And I would never ever have been stupid enough to have done that. It was a different time. Yeah. Tegan used to do spooky and ghost walks for Great Yarmouth and Lowestoft libraries. Excellent. Yeah, Lowestoft. Yeah, brilliant. There's quite a lot of what I love is that there's a lot of local ghost tours. I mean, I know that Guildford has had a ghost tour that's been going on for like 20 years. And you can understand why London would have loads of ghost tours, but I love that there's lots of. And as I've been working in lots of different cities, you sort of find them all over the place. It's tremendous. I'm a great fan of small, obscure local museums and heritage sites and things like that. I think they need to keep going rather than massive, huge things. No Ditch, no more paranormal than even Neil Gaiman, although he's pretty much up there on the non-paranormal. So, would you like another old... right, so I do apologise for the fact that I've put the cat cam there, and I keep leaning away that puts my face over it. We'll fine-tune these things. Oh yeah, CJ Ron Rostow. Yeah, Guildford has the Guildford Ghost Tour. It's been going on for quite a long time with the same chap. I know it's there. So yeah, I've never been on it. I don't know if it's any good. I don't really feel that's the point. It's been running for so long, it must be an entertaining night. Must be so hard to run a ghost tour. But yeah, the Guildford Ghost Tour. So we're going to do another British historical classic. If you have heard of this before, don't worry, we're getting to an absolute brand new unknown banger to nearly round off. But this is the story, the many, many stories of Glamis Castle. So Glamis Castle, obviously, in the UK. It is a castle, sort of. Now, sort of. And it's got enough spooky legends to fill a substantial show. So we're gonna steam through them. So most of them revolve around hidden rooms and what might be inside the hidden rooms. So for a start, there's a story that during a conflict, the entire Ogilvy family hid inside a secret chamber, but when their enemies discovered them, instead of just killing them, they walled them up inside and let them die in the dark of thirst. Is this a legend? Well, there's another story that says a party at the castle saw the visitors decide if they could try and see if they could see any secret rooms, and they had a very clever plan. If you were in a castle and you wanted to fairly quickly see if you could find a secret room, what would you do? Now really, chat, what would you do? I'm interested. Let me know. Noted. So you're in you're in like a big castle, a big stately home. You're not going to be there for very long. You want to find a secret room as quickly as possible. What would you do? Which is what these people did. Let me see. What we've got. You would investigate. Yes, yesterday. But how? What would you actually physically do that might produce quick results? This is also a teaching moment, because you may find yourself in a stately home wondering how to do this. So what they did, and what you can do if you are ever partying at a stately home filled with weird horrors. I mean, it might happen. A flashlight. So what they did is they got a huge quantity of towels, and they went room to room, in every room they could find, and they hung the towels in all the windows. Did you along the right lines? And then they went outside and they looked up, and there were windows with no towels in, so they had no obvious doors. So what else is supposed to be in Glamis Castle's secret rooms? Well, there's two stories. One of these is a bit more far-fetched, even for this stream. Allegedly, the Bowes-Lytton family are cursed, and one child in every generation is born a vampire, who is then locked away in the castle walls. Even for this, that's perhaps a bit far-fetched. However, somewhat more believable is the story of the monster of Glamis, or the horror of Glamis. It's said that in 1821, Lady Glamis gave birth to a baby son who was deeply malformed. The parents registered the death, but then claimed the baby died soon after. But there was never a gravestone, and it said the baby was locked away in a secret room, for as long as the baby lasted. The thing is, this baby was, although malformed to the eyes of the 19th century, was incredibly strong, and he grew and lived. In fact, he grew so long, he lived so long, he outlived his parents, and his brother had to take over looking after him. He had staggering strength, but deeply twisted body. It is said that when he finally died, nearing 100 years old, he was buried in the walls of the castle, and his ghost is said to walk along the rooftops, bemoaning his fate. One earl, because there were earls in Charles Clancy's castle, was said to be so fond of playing cards he would not stop even on a Sunday, the holy day when gambling was banned. As you can tell, this is a historical story. The idea that we wouldn't do anything on Sunday these days has sort of vanished, including shopping. One night, as night Saturday moved into the Sabbath, a mysterious figure arrived and challenged the Earl to a game of something. They went into a locked room, but the Earl never came out, because this was the devil, and they won the Earl's soul. And he is still there, playing in that room until the end of the world. Now, you may be wondering, well, this has got a lot of stories, like an exceptionally large proportion of stories compared to most other castles and stately houses. To be honest, pretty much everywhere of a certain age has a ghost. Yes, Ditch, always ask the stakes before you play. Don't get fooled into gambling your soul away. Only do that deliberately when you're absolutely in fact, don't do that. Don't do that either. But do all these stories that I've just gone through about Glamis Castle hide something else, something darker is beneath all these well publicised stories, something else lurking. Claude Bowes Lyon, the 13th Earl of Strathmore, is reported to have told a confidant, who then passed it on. If you could even guess the nature of this castle's secret, you would get down on your knees and thank God it was not yours. Ditch has also recommended don't read the Necronomicon or play audio tapes of people reading the Necronomicon. This is good advice. Audio books very much count. And there's been massive discussion on Twitter. Do audiobooks count as reading? Can we say reading, or do people have to bully us into saying listening? And there is a very clear answer, because if you play the Necronomicon out loud, you're going to get torn apart by eldritch monsters. So yes, it does count very much as reading. Can somebody make a note of that? Because that's getting clipped for YouTube. Where are we? We're an hour in. Right. Sorry, that just struck me. That's good. That was an on-the-spot riff, and I am definitely going to hit that on YouTube and just wait for the complaints. Yeah, clip that, exactly. Clip that. Let's go. Right, we're an hour in. The material is going quite well. So that's good. To be fair, we're an hour in. I did spend 10 minutes stroking my unhappy cat. So forgive me. The cat is present and quiet, exactly. Well, she is quiet until you try and take her to the vet, in which case she becomes quite vocal. The fact she's here is surprising, and does mean I might be able to get her in the basket tomorrow, which is always something that worries you about me. Okay, I'm now going to do a very, very famous story. Anyone with any knowledge of modern weird stuff in the news he's going to know this one, but I think it's worth adding in because it's quite a nice one if anyone's not heard it. We're going to do the story of the Cecil Hotel and Eliza Lamb. I think it's worth pointing out there's actually a song about Eliza Lamb. If anybody likes serial killers and murders and music and would like to mix the two, there is a band called Skinned, Skynd, and they do songs about murders, which I know is not everyone's cup of tea. Let's just say I did an article about them for a bit of music journalism for a website, and they did get quite a few people complaining. What can you do? Yes, we did learn some new cat swear words. Death in Vegas too. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Death in Vegas, all-time banger. But these so the Skin songs are all about real cases that exist, which is why it's a bit controversial. I mean, I can understand you might not want people singing about it, but I'm gonna put this out there. I actually really like the music, which is probably one of those bits of opposing contents my mind marvellously refuses to correlate, which is, I'm not sure this is a good idea, but I quite like it, which is how a lot of problems start. Cat swear words. Oh, we heard a lot of cat swear words today. It's bad when you can tell your cat is meowing at you in 2 syllables. That's a situation. Yeah, see, Thelonious knows. Sometimes it's full of love, sometimes it's really not. Right, the Cecil Hotel. So, by 2013, the Cecil Hotel in LA already had a really bad track record. Sorry, Cecil Hotel, but there's no coming back from the fact that A, serial killer Richard Ramirez had stayed there for months, and B, serial killer Jack Unterweger is believed to have committed 3 murders while staying there. Also, in 1962, a woman committed suicide by jumping out of a window, killing both herself and the person she landed on. So it's not going well for the Cecil Hotel. Until 2013, when in January 2013, a holidaymaker called Eliza Lamb checks in. She's been travelling down the west coast, calling her parents every day. Everything seems fine. But on January 31st, she vanished. You could always play it out to attract a different sort of clientele. Yeah. So she vanished, and nobody knew where she went. But they did have some video footage. Thelonious, I've got a cat named Cecil. Hey. Clearly named after Cecil B. DeMille because you're a fan of a film. So they had the last video footage of Eliza was her getting in an elevator. But this was problematic. She was clearly alone, but she was talking to people who weren't there. She was peering around doors, hiding in a corner. Was someone threatening her off the cameras? Was she having a psychotic break? Or, as some people have said, was she interacting with something paranormal? Soon after, hotel residents complained the water began to stink and taste bad and was often black. And now you already know exactly where this is going. Because when the staff member checked the tank on February 19th, he found Lamb's naked body inside. Police were called and they concluded that Lamb had voluntarily gone up to the tanks, got through an alarm and a lock, stripped off and drowned in the tank. It was ruled accidental. But why? What was she doing in the lift? Was this just an awful psychotic break, or was something going on? And for the benefits of the fact that this is a spooky stream, we're going to go, ghosties. It was medical students. Probably is. Do you know, I should have got a medical student story. I mean, it's not like there's not enough medical student stories. I should have done one. But you will be pleased to know that in the last stream, there was a poll about what animal I should do a true crime story on, and tortoises won. And I have found, not only have I found a true crime story involving tortoises, it is so up to the minute that I think it was yesterday was the latest court development. Steve Ford, Monty Python, the medical love song. Probably can't mention that on stream. Probably can't read the lyrics out. Although, given the content of this crime show, probably can. So let's do one called Surprise, because this is all about a surprise. Need one about bunnies. We'll see. So in the 90s, Julia from Portland, Oregon, was driving away from the urban area to see friends. She was 18, she hadn't driven for long, and she was ready to chill. As she drove, she sadly passed a car accident. Well, an accident, I think it was a truck actually. The vehicle was destroyed, and paramedics were basically just giving up on trying to save the driver. Julie drove respectfully and quickly past, then jumped because there was a woman now in her passenger seat. Julie freaked, as you probably would, but the woman in the passenger seat also freaked. The woman started angrily asking how she'd ended up here. Was she being kidnapped? Who was Julie? What was happening? Julie managed to realise a few things. Firstly, the woman was dressed in work clothes, and secondly, the woman was, well, not entirely there. Thelonious, are you talking about a particularly angry rabbit? Like a Monty Python angry rabbit? So chat is now talking about bunnies that can scare off cats. Just a second, Chops. Yeah, Watership Down's mad, isn't it? It's like, hey, watch this lovely kids film. Oh look, here's bunny genocide, and now here are the Nazi bunnies. They recently raised the age rating on the movie of Watership Down, and I don't disagree with them. Because it's horrendous. So let's have some bunny chat. Thelonious is the sweetest bunny, he just hates cats. Controversial. Ditch had a bunny called Buffy, but she didn't inspire the TV show. Tegan has 6 bunnies, which I'm fairly certain is some sort of herd. Don't cross Tegan; she'll set them on you. Hey Janosch, good to see you. Welcome in, welcome in. It's a fluffle of buns. Is that the official name? A fluffle? Well, it should be. It should be the official name. Although now, if I see more than one rabbit out in the wild, I'm going to be very cautious. Oh, yep, right. So the group name for rabbits is a fluffle, which is just the best thing ever. So Julie said, Mom, you need to calm down, I'm here to help. Because Julie explained her theory to the woman in the car. That was, you have just died in a car accident I have passed. And you really need to leave because you've died, you're not still alive. And the woman was upset, of course, but somehow deep within her realised it was true. As they approached a break in the trees, Julie pulled over. The woman got out, turned, walked away, and faded from view. So how are we doing, chat? There are potentially 4 of these left, one of which is longer, but an absolute banger. How are we feeling? Are we feeling it? Shall we keep going? Ditch. I'm going to be honest, Ditch. I've lined up a final story, which is really escape. Or is Polly asleep there? Yes, Polly's asleep. Sleepy kitty. So maybe she doesn't hate me quite as much as. Oh, thank you, Sydney. Yes, so tonight we're not doing true crime, although we do normally. We're doing a special spooky stream. If you stop several kittens in China. Okay, so we're going to do another classic old one. Have any of you heard of Black Shuck? So are there any dog fans in? Yeah, we're going to be doing every so often. I'm going to do a Halloween. I'm going to do a spooky stream on Halloween, but I decided I was a bit excited that we'd do the first one now, so we're just doing this. Is they're rare, but this is just giving it a spin just to see what people think, so we can calibrate Halloween and any others. Yeah, for the Black Shuck being a bad name, yeah. So Black Shuck, are there any dog fans in? You might not be a fan of Black Shuck. Shuck derives from Old English and means devil fiend. And black, well, that just refers to the fact it's black. And also huge with fiery red eyes. And it is a dog that haunts the roads and fields and cemeteries of East Anglia. Many people have seen Black Shuck over the centuries. The most famous account dates from 1577 when, according to a record, he roared into Holy Trinity Church through doors closed to the sound of thunder. He ran past the congregation and savaged a man and a boy to death. As he ran away, he left burn marks on the floor that still exist. And then, as if to make this the absolute perfect horror scene, the church steeple collapsed. However, he rarely kills people. He is most often a portent of somebody's coming death. You really don't want to see him. I believe it probably was Ditch. Although the thing about Britain is every area of Britain seems to have its own massive paranormal dog that wanders around. So Black Shuck is East Anglians, but they've all pretty much got one. To some people, he's said to be friendly. But if I'm going to be honest, I don't think you want to be in the sort of life situation in which the hellhound is nice to you. I feel you've got issues. Ditch says, if I was starting a band, this would be called Beef and Fire. Are you the missing member of Earth, Wind and Fire? Earth, Wind, Beef and Fire. You'd rather it be nice to you than ate you, to be honest. Yes, possibly, but it depends where your soul's going afterwards, I suppose. And now, a happy ghost story. There had to be one. I should have put this at the end. This is a mistake. Oh, this is a mistake. So Alicia Diozzi is very, very real. She's the owner of Salem Kids Tours, and she teaches children about the history of Salem. But she's noticed something. Kids keep seeing someone in the first church that no adult ever does. Now, I didn't look up ghost tours as this. I thought an actual crime would be. Earth, Wind, Beef and Fire sounds like a great barbecue recipe. Yeah. So she's taken many children past the church, and many of the younger ones will ask about the pale woman in the choir loft. Completely unconnected children, 4 or 5 years old, they always point to the same spot. Describe a woman in a long dress. who sometimes sings. But the problem is there's no one there. This woman is well known in Salem. Children have been singing since the 1960s. But the twist is, no adult has ever seen her. No one knows who she might be, just that she seems just to show herself to the young. Yes, C-Web Rockstars pointed out that if the Hellhound is nice to you, it probably means you're doomed anyway, which I think is the situation here. I mean, not to be controversial, but if you have to die, it's probably best to die in a way where you end up in heaven than damned in hell, probably. Imagine walking a hellhound. Where would you put the poo bag? Ditch. It's a hellhound. It can poo wherever it wants. Nobody is going to argue with it. So now, I'm sure the local council will still try to fine you. They could, but you just send the dog round, wouldn't you? Let them come and collect the money. I mean, you'd never get any post, right? Oh, the Amazon guy is not coming near your house. But you probably wouldn't get any canvassers, chuggers, fish salesmen or any of that. Well, not the second time at least. So we're coming now to the highlight of this stream. Yeah, you need some sort of reinforced bag. You need something that keep radioactive material in. Yeah, if the hellhound was amenable in your shed, you could cook steaks on it back. Just going to blow my nose. So this is what we've been building to. This is the highlight of the stream. A lot of these cases have been old and classics. This is a new one, and it's an interesting one. It takes place in 2014. The Indianapolis Star newspaper reported this, but they didn't just report it in a sort of page 8 way. They spent 6,000 words covering all the happenings. They interviewed health professionals. They looked at documentation from the police. They spoke to psychologists, priests, all the various happenings and general arcane chaos. What's interesting about this alleged demonic possession is there are official government documents listing witness accounts of strange things. This is not just Steve on Reddit claiming something happened for the lols. No one has pointed out the Hellhound sounds like Fluffy from Harry Potter. Well, we mentioned Neil Gaiman in the stream earlier if you want something that Harry Potter sounds like. Somebody could, yeah. English only, please, Baron. Alright, just nuke him. No problem, just nuke him. So, let's discuss the Indianapolis exorcisms. Thank you, Foxy. So it's November, it's 2011, and a woman with the surname Ammon moved their family into a rented home in Gary. It went well until black flies swarmed the house, always returning after the rest had been killed. Then they started to hear someone climbing the basement stairs, and they heard the doors into the kitchen go. When they locked all these doors, they would still hear someone climbing the steps and going through the doors. One night, Ammon's mother woke up to find a shadow of a figure at the end of her bed. It vanished as her eyes adjusted, but the floor beneath was wet. So far, so normal haunted house. Hello, Polly. But it was claimed that at 2 a.m. one night, as her family and guests slept, after they were mourning after a friend had died, panicked children screamed, and they all saw the 12-year-old girl in the family unconscious, levitating above the bed. Everyone panicked until she fell back down. The girl had no memory. They're going to see me refer to these children by boy and girl because, for obvious privacy reasons, the newspaper report did not report their names. Yep, no one gets past Foxy. Always ready to go. So they rang their church, but the church thought this was nonsense. Finally, one church gave some advice. There's clearly something in your house, so clean the house with bleach and ammonia, anoint every window with crosses of oil, and they did so. They then managed to get 2 clairvoyants in, who, in no uncertain terms, said there's 200 demons in this house. Just leave and never come back like we are. Not sure how you would take that if you lived in a house and somebody dropped that on you. But unfortunately for the Ammons, they had no money to move, so they had to stay. The clairvoyant then suggested something else. Make an altar in the basement and pray. Yes, Ditch, 200. They were not messing about with the figures. Unfortunately, setting an altar up in the basement and praying for it was like catnip to a cat to the demons. I've not thought that analogy through. Because the demons decided to absolutely go for it, if you want to believe the demonic explanation. All in the family began to be regularly possessed, seeing each other have bulging eyes, screaming in evil faces, voices they've never made before. The 7-year-old son was found in a wardrobe talking to the spirit of a boy, describing what it was like to be killed. They were thrown across the room. Objects were thrown across the room. They needed stitches to heal the wounds they suffered from. When they could afford it, they stayed at hotels, but often they would just have to stay at home and suffer. Finally, they went for some science, and they went to the family doctor. In 2012, his notes talk of delusions of ghosts, hallucinations, and a need for psychiatric help. But during one interview, the demons showed themselves to the doctor. A Department of Child Services report narrates what happened. They said that the child became possessed, screamed at the doctor in demonic voices, and the young boy was thrown up in the air and into the wall without anyone else touching him. The doctor's security called the police, who arrived and managed to get the whole family to hospital. Some had calmed and were okay. The youngest boy was thrashing and screaming so hard it took 5 hospital staff to restrain him. It was at this point the DCS were called, Child Services. Generally a sceptical group of people. They found the family to be in good health. And then, in their report... Oh, Janosch has got you on through my speakers and on the big... Hang on, right, just a second. Janosch has got me on the big screen. Do you know what that means? Janosch, do you know what we did early on in the stream? We watched... we had a look at some classic ghost photos. Now, I will need your permission. Would you like me to put up some classic ghost photos? I'm asking because because I think it would be very rude if a man's got a 70-inch flat screen to suddenly stick the Newbury Monk on it. Do you want to have a quick carousel of what was going on earlier, Janosch? Say no. It's fine to say no. If you want to, because this is a true crime. This is a spooky stream instead of a true crime stream. Yeah. Okay. So we saw these are classic ghost photos. So we started with this. The Brown Lady of Raynham, supposed to be somebody walking down the stairs. Then we went to the Amityville boy. The ghost in that photo is the boy. Allegedly, there was no boy in the house. At least none with glowing eyes. Then we took a trip to the Tulip Staircase, where something may have been going up it. And then finally, my favourite one, the one that terrified me as a 7-year-old, the Newbury Monk. I hope you enjoyed that. So the DCS started to interview them. The youngest boy growled and started throttling his brother. He had to be pried loose. A later exam. Yeah, I'm sure it was. I've probably seen the exact book, Steve. A later exam that day saw the youngest boy growl, "It's time to die," and the older brother start to attack him. According to an actual existing DCS government report, the 9-year-old then smiled a weird grin, walked backwards up a wall to the ceiling, and flipped down onto his feet. Which does take quite a lot of explaining that nobody could do. Some of the family stayed at the hospital that night, others went to relatives' home. They all had to be back the next day. The DCS could not comprehend anything other than these were extremely troubled and mistreated children, and took custody of the kids before they'd even got a court order, because it would appear they were all extremely disturbed. A hospital chaplain decided to take other action, and he rang the Reverend Michael Maginot, asking him to come along and perform an exorcism. Yeah, Janosch, let me know when you're ready and we'll go through them again for your missus, no problem. Just give me a yes in chat. Ready? Okay, so this is the Brown Lady of Raynham. Something coming down the stairs, allegedly. This is the Amityville boy. This is a boy that wasn't in the Amityville house when this photo was taken, but he was on the photo. This is the Tulip Staircase, an ex-royal British royal residence, with something that may or may not be a British royal climbing up it, possibly. And finally, the Newbury Monk. It's only called a monk because it's wearing robes, but I wouldn't argue with it. Right, there we go. So, Maginot went to see Ammon in the family home, and as they talked, blinds swung with a gust, lights flickered constantly, but stopped when Maginot went near. He was convinced they were demons, blessed each room, and told everybody to leave permanently. And they did, because of course, the children were still being looked after. However, Ammons had to go back a week later when the DCS came to check the house. Police came as well. Ammons refused to press the threshold, but the police and the DCS went in. The police took photos, One of these photos had a ethereal face looking at them, and they took an audio recording on which someone not present could be talking. Their batteries all drained super fast. We will return to the views of the police later on. The DCS took water of the children. The daughter and eldest son went to St. Joseph's Carmelite Home in East Chicago. The youngest son to Christian Haven in Wheatfield. At these places, far removed from seeing and visiting the home, the official report was this appears to be an unfortunate sad case of a child who's been induced into a delusional system. Therapy was organised for everyone. However, everyone who had been involved closely was still concerned, confused and intrigued about the house. Ammons, her mother, police officers Maginot and the DCS returned to the house. Maginot wanted to check a patch of dirt under the stairs to make sure nothing had been buried. A hole was dug and they found a fake fingernail, underwear, socks, candy wrappers, a padlet and a metal weight. Maginot had been afraid they might find a body or a pentagram. There's not really any explanation why anybody would bury all that stuff. Ditch, you can get official church exorcisms, but they are very, very difficult. They have to be approved many ways up. In fact, Ditch, only this week or last week? It's been in the last 2 weeks, the Catholic Church have issued new rules on identifying and dealing with the paranormal and with miracles. They have tightened the rules, but nonetheless they still exist, and there are still officially classed cases of the supernatural. However, the team started to suffer harm. One felt that her finger had suddenly broken. It hadn't, but and then she collapsed into a. Then she's trying to work out if cat side is better than cat bum. Yes. I can assure you, as somebody that used to have a cat sitting on their chest before they became livid with me, cat side is infinitely better than having her arse in your face. That is 100% fact. So she collapsed into a panic attack and had to be taken out. Soon Ammons reported pain in the head and shoulder and had to be taken out. The atmosphere was so oppressive, a police officer walked out, saying he couldn't do it anymore. The rest found a sticky liquid dripping off the blinds. They cleaned it, watched, and it reappeared again. Maginot was convinced, and when he left, he asked Bishop Dale Malzak permission to do a full church exorcism. That is an awesome emoji, Steve. I like that emoji. Is that a general emoji that anyone can use? Yeah. Yeah, Thelonious, you're right. You definitely don't want cat bum in your face. However, Malzak had been able to authorise exorcisms for 21 years and had never done so. He said no now. So Maginot sought out help to perform a minor exorcism, for which he did not need permission. Now, if you're wondering what the difference between a minor and a full church exorcism is, a major full official church exorcism has the full power of the church behind it, and is therefore much more powerful than just one priest on his own. Incredibly, police and the DCS decided they would attend Maginot's minor exorcism. After a 2-hour process, many witnesses came away, while not willing to say they were demons, feeling they had experienced something out of this world. After this, the bishop agreed to do the fully authorised exorcism. Oh, thank you so much for the follow, Darling Penny25, very kind of you. This is normally a true crime stream if you're interested in true crime, but we will be doing more spooky stuff. This is just to test the waters, get the vibes, get some feedback. It's all building up to a Halloween spectacular. So we shall see how that goes. So, Maginot now performed 3 exorcisms. If I recall correctly, yeah, he didn't have official permission, did he? So, yes. Unless he did. I can't remember. It's been actually, I watched it very recently with Steve, but it's been a very packed few weeks, so I can't remember. Thank you, Steve. 70 followers. That is wonderful. If you enjoy this content, please give me a follow on Twitch. Even sub if you really like it. If you like it on YouTube, please give me a follow there. We are over 300 followers on YouTube. I just appreciate you watching the content. Following does give you the benefit of being able to see when I'm on. Yes, Stitch. Yes, 60. Nice. Well, hello, Polly. I like the way she is doing her normal sit with Daddy through the stream, but she's also glaring at me exceptionally grumpily as well. Just to make sure I know. So, he did 3 exorcisms. In between the second and the third, Maginot had to leave town. In case of an emergency, his sister, she may have been a sister. His assistant wrote the main demon's name on paper and surrounded it with... Right, I will turn the bar washing off. Sorry, thank you, Ditch. Thank you. You don't have to watch my cat wash her ass. But you do have to know that tongue may be put near my face later, and I have to be polite about it. So his assistant wrote the main demon's name on paper and surrounded it with blessed salt. When Maginot rang the assistant up saying she was having nightmares, the paper was burned. And that ended it. The exorcisms were over. They waited. They waited some more. No more happened. Ammons and her mother moved back to Indianapolis. Maginot blessed their new home. The children were returned 6 months later. They have, at the time the Indianapolis Star article was published, received no further problems. However, the current tenant of the house isn't reporting any problems. But can you imagine if you lived in that house and your local newspaper published a 6,000-word, heavily footnoted article about the 200 demons? And that, ladies and gentlemen, and Polly, you are dribbling a lot. Are you alright? I'm a bit worried you're still dribbling. Why are you dribbling? Have you tasted something you shouldn't have? Well, everybody. Oh, thank you for the congrats on 70 followers. Thank you very much. Let me just wipe your... Let me just wipe your mouth. There. Well, thank you, everybody. I hope you have enjoyed the first spooky stream. I'm interested in your feedback. And if you let me know... Alright. Just get that drawer off. Thank you, Alice. Thanks for that. Well, I'm glad you all enjoyed it. That's thrilling. Thank you so, so much. Yeah, she's saying it's time to end the stream. Right, everybody. Thank you so much. I appreciate you all. I will catch some of you later tonight. I'll send some messages out. But take care, everybody. And speak soon. I've also set up the end screen as well. Oh, we don't want to do a raid, don't we? Sorry. Are you alright? Right. Let me just see if the person I want to raid is still alive. Right. We are going to raid something completely different vibe. We are going to raid a beautiful craftsman who makes really lovely stuff. I've probably done the wrong thing. There we go. We are going to see Notbush. Do take care, everybody. See you soon. Have a good time. Bye-bye.